Hello sinners! Check it out, I finally earned my horns. By that I mean I bought them when I went to Camden 2 weeks ago, but still, I consider this an achievement. Because on Thursday I actually went up going around a friend's house and went up doing a couple of rituals, which was really cool, really fun, and we'll get into it. And so some of the things we did on Thursday was stuff I've kind of seen on some other Satanic YouTube channels where they do. There's about 15-20 minute long videos of mainly Unbaptisms I've watched. So I thought I'd give one of those things a go. But as it was just me and one of my friends, I didn't really want to just sit down and write out a whole list, because I don't want to kind of copy everyone else's verbatim, but at the same time I didn't want to just kind of wing it. So I basically did my own shorter version, as it's just me and my friend. So yeah, so on my way to my friends I went to pick up some apples. I'm very sad at the moment because I put a poll up on Twitter the other day asking, or on the day actually, asking, when you think about apples in a satanic sense, what colour apple do you think? I usually think green. Most people voted red, which makes me sad because I do prefer green apples myself. But so I bought a bag of green apples, and my friend and I, we both did an unbaptism ritual. And so I'll just quickly read what my one was. Now, as I said, this was the first time I actually did an unbaptism or any form of ritual, or at least with another person. I did a couple of rituals at my altar over there. Yeah, so for my unbaptism, I kind of took a line that I know has been used in one of the videos I've watched previously. I can't remember the name of the channel, but I'll probably leave a link in the description. So for the unbaptism ritual, we basically both said "Hail Satan," which is still a weird thing to say out loud to me, as I've come out from a theist background. So yeah, it's still kind of strange to me. But so basically we said, "Satan, we take the fruit from the tree of knowledge." This is from my book of Job. And so then we take a bite of the apple. We embrace the sacrifice of our ignorance. We will serve to act with compassion and empathy, and not distort facts to fit our beliefs. In Lucifer's name, hail Satan. And then we move on to the satanic, to the Dark Lord's Prayer, which I picked up from come on brain, from Reddit. And I thought I came across two, but only one I actually liked the sound of, because it seemed close enough to the Lord's Prayer. So this one I've got called the Dark Lord's Prayer, and this was Our Father who art in hell, unhallowed be thy name. And those of you who listen to Ghost have probably heard that line already. Thy kingdom is come, thy will is done on earth as it is below. We take this night our righteous due, and trespass on faithless taboos. Lead us into temptation, and deliver us from false pieties. For yours is the world, the riches, and the glory, forever and ever. Hail Satan. And so if I'm doing something in the name of Satan, I like the idea of adding that on to the end, in the same way that when you have, on the few times I've went to church or watched church services, they would have their standard prayer, then end with the Lord's Prayer. So it just makes sense as to kind of add that on. And after we did the unbaptism, we actually wound up finishing the apples because I don't like wasting food. And also, my friend and I did a renaming ceremony as well, and I was going to make that a separate thing, but I then came to the conclusion that if you're doing an unbaptism, now traditionally when you do a baptism you then kind of get named, so I thought just add the renaming part at the end of the Unbaptism. So I then basically said to my friend, you've now taken the left-handed path, you now speak the name you wish to walk down the road in. And then my friend said their name, and then we both said Hail Satan again. And you know, so that's kind of like their Satan name, in the same way you have your Christian name. And after that, we wound up doing a I'm not quite sure what to call it, but essentially it was for like sexual confidence and kind of sexual independence, because sometimes my friend, she's very not quite shameful, but sometimes like you know, doesn't necessarily embrace or not necessarily confident in herself. So this one isn't actually named, because obviously the other thing I've put Unbaptism Ritual Dark Lord's Prayer. So for this, I decided to kind of wing it and just kind of write down my own thing. So in this, I referenced the name of Lilith. Don't think I'm going to do a video on Lilith. A lot of people know who she is. So I said I don't really have a name for this, but this is kind of how it went. So my friend was laying down. I got my root chakra stone, which is in my altar video. So I got the chakra stone, put it on her chest, and I also had 2 tarot cards with me, which is still in reach, which is handy. I really don't plan these. Right, so I got the card Lilith, which was the Lovers from the Gruchet Tarot. And I also got the Lust card, which is representative of strength. But I got the Lust card from the Thoth Tarot. And this is actually the representation of the Whore of Babylon. Now the Whore of Babylon is also featured in this deck as well, but I liked the kind of old style with that artwork. So she laid down, I put the stone on her chest and put these 2 cards at either side of her head. I then came out with this. So I said, I call upon you, Lilith, mother of demons. I call upon you, the Whore of Babylon, the bringer of the end. And she's supposed to be one of the triggers for Revelations, or in the book of Revelations, which I still haven't read, but I'll read at some point because it sounds hilarious. Release this vessel from their bonds. Let them free to seek their desires. Let them taste the fruit of lust. Let them drink from the well of carnal pleasures. Let them be free to fulfill their natural instincts. Hail Lilith, hail the whore. And then, from then we went on to a separate prayer, which is the Hail Lilith prayer. So I wrote this. Some of you may have already seen this on my social medias. And on this, I basically rewrote for the come on brain. For International Blasphemy Day, which was the 30th of September, I sat down and rewrote the Hail Mary. So this one is, Hail Lilith, mother of lust, Satan is with thee. Loved are thou amongst women, and loved is the fruit of thy loins, the whore of Babylon. Sweet Lilith, mother of freedom, a kiss for us sinners, now and till the end of all days, Hail Lilith. And with that, I've kind of got I can't remember the name of the crystal, but it's about 6-7 inches long, white crystal with a point. So that's kind of using that as kind of like a wand. And one thing I quite found is, unfortunately, I kind of said it in a kind of a standard droll style, so I'm not kind of doing it as performative. It's just kind of being it sounds like I'm taking it very seriously. And it was a very interesting experience because, as I've said, having recently coming out of Christianity, it's the strength of the words and like the power you give yourself. I believe Anton LaVey had said that the words have the power, and by saying the word, you're giving yourself the power. it's not by any means a supernatural thing that's giving you the power, but you're convincing, but by saying the words, you're convincing, you're making it real. In the same way that you might feel a bit more confident if you're wearing your favourite pair of socks. The socks are just socks, but because you're wearing them and they're your favourite, you feel more confident and you project that confidence. So it's kind of like that. The socks aren't inherently more special than any other, they're just your favourite. But yeah, I found that quite interesting to do, and as I said, it's still quite alien to me saying out loud, "Hail Satan." It was actually easier to say "Hail Lilith" and "Hail the Whore." Although "Hail the Whore" sounds pretty cool in its own way as well, personally. Yeah, so that was my Thursday, essentially. But I said I did find it quite interesting, and obviously with stuff like that, there's no real rule set in stone. And so I like to try and integrate and blend stuff like that anyway. So as I've said, it's the Unbaptism ritual in itself can have its own script, but I still wanted to add the Dark Lord's Prayer at the end, because that's kind of how I'm used to hearing prayers and stuff like that. And so it kind of adds a bit more concreteness to it. Though I still don't believe it's actually doing anything in a supernatural sense, it's still an empowering thing to do. And so before I shoot off, as I've been enjoying rewriting a lot of the biblical quotes, because it's just quite entertaining, I find, and it feels like it's kind of helping my creative juices, as it were. So I decided to, once again, if you follow me on Twitter and Instagram, you've probably already seen this. But I decided to do a bit from Psalms, because I was thinking, well, I enjoyed rewriting the Hail Mary. What other like big things do people quote? And so I remembered the line of "walking through the shadow of the valley of death." So I looked that up, and I kind of come up with my own version. And not the entire quote, because some of it was like, "I lay down in a field," and I'm like, that doesn't sound that good. So it kind of goes from here. I've got this on my phone because I haven't written it down yet. So it says, "Even though I walk through the valley of the fading light, I shall fear no right hand, for Satan is with me. Your fruit and your goals, they support me. You prepare a table for me in the presence of the pious. You anoint my head with wine. My glass overfills. Surely reason and compassion will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the temple of Satan forever." So I quite like the idea. I quite like the sound of that. It's kind of very on brand. I mentioned, because the quote is "the house of the Lord." So I thought, should I make it church? Should I make it cathedral? And I thought, well, I'll make it temple, for the Satanic temple. So I kind of added bits in there. But yeah, so that's kind of my kind of Satanic update, I guess, involving prayers and rituals. I'm still finding this I'm finding it quite fun, first off, because it's fun in the creative sense, because it's getting something that's already established and rewriting it so many beats sound familiar but are off. And that's one of the things I've been enjoying with that. And the concept of working on something that has like a vague outline. So once again, with the Unbaptism rather, it's not necessarily, there is not a set practice, but the line I wanted to focus on was taking the bite from the tree and highlighting what that means. But at the same time, I didn't make it too long because it's just me and her, and I didn't really want it to drag on either, because I don't think it would be that much fun for all of us. And I don't mind speaking in front of other people, hence a YouTube channel, but it's still the thing, if I didn't want to be standing there, just me and her in a room for like 10 minutes whilst I just keep reading stuff when it's like, when I feel like I've already gotten to the point. So maybe after COVID has died down, I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon, but after it kind of dies down and we can do groups and meetings and stuff, this would be these are the things I would like to kind of input and maybe expand on, because I said none of it's written in stone, and I'm more than certain that the Unbaptism ritual I'd written can just be increased upon and have more added, which should be fine. Yeah, so this is kind of like my update really. I might be doing, I think about doing a Q&A, so if you are new or interested, drop me a question once again on my social medias, or you can drop me a question in the comments. Also like and subscribe. But yeah, so leave a note down in the comments, and if it's an interesting question I'll add it into a video. So I'll see you later, and hail Satan.